G'day trendsetters, Mark Batten in Australia. You may remember last year I successfully completed a voluntary video challenge, a personal development video challenge, 30 days. And I have to say it was really challenging to do one video each day on a topic which sometimes was something I didn't really want to talk about, to expose others to. Let me tell you a little bit more about why I've accepted to do a second lot of videos, and just how challenging the decision to do a second lot of videos has been for me. And in fact, I've been sitting here for the last 10 minutes thinking, wow, I'm really going to do this, and why on earth did I decide that this would be good for me? And all of these different anxieties and feelings have been running through my mind, and I've been shutting them down and saying, look, there's every reason why I want to do this. What I want to talk to you about, the topic of today's video, is what was it that I wanted to do when I was a child? And there were two things that I wanted to do when I was a child. One was to become a doctor, and the other was to be one of the Beatles. I played the guitar and used to watch their stuff and think that's who I am and that's who I want to be. I haven't ended up being either one of those two things, and in the interim period there's been all sorts of reasons why I've argued for my own limitations and decided that I shouldn't step up and step forward and be bold, be courageous, be adventurous, not even necessarily step off the cliff. Over the Christmas break, I began reading a book by a guy named Brendan Burchard. Wonderful book, which is called the Motivation Manifesto. And I didn't get very far into it before I had to stop and reread the first page, and then stop at the end of the first chapter and reread the first chapter. Such is the power of his thinking and his words, and it's entirely relevant to me talking to you about this whole idea of, why is it that when as humans we're born with the heart of a lion, yet we live our lives as mice? Why is it that generally speaking we're so afraid of conflict that we dumb our personalities down, that we soften ourselves off and we become a person who we feel the rest of society wants to be around? Why do we feel this? What is it about this that is so scary about revealing me? What is it about that fear, that doubt, that anxiety? And I know it's not just me. I know it's all of us to one degree or another. It's this feeling of playing it safe, of being accepted, and whether or not in playing it safe and being accepted and not being the real me in the world, that I've deliberately somehow come to a space of maybe even boredom. It's really interesting. That's why I'm doing the challenge again, because I found that during the first 30 days there was a lot of me that I was able to talk about with others, and I've had some really meaningful and powerful feedback from 3 people who mean a lot to me. So here we go again for the first day, or here I am again for the first day, braving it to the world and mainly to myself, just to say what I was wanting to be when I was a kid. Now, interestingly, I remember talking about one of those things to a family group. My grandparents were there, there was other extended family members there, friends of the family, and being a young, I think I was about 10-year-old at the time, I was asked, so what do you want to do? What do you want to be when you grow up? And straight away I said I want to be a doctor. And there were guffaws of laughter and not necessarily put downs, but at the age I was pretty fragile, and I suppose in hindsight I took them as put downs or as not being good enough, not coming from the right background. Education wasn't good enough, I wasn't doing well enough at school. So I never ended up being a doctor, but I have got a background in health which I'm pretty proud of, and it's still a really important part of my life. The second thing though is far more exciting, I suppose, and I held this for many years, even though it never came to fruition, and that was to be like the Beatles, if not one of the Beatles, and on stage with a group of 3 or 4 others performing pop music to the world. I was playing the guitar at a very young age and just loved it, and was reasonably good at it, and thought that was me. And as I say, that's never happened. So those are the two things. Those are my two stories about the two things that I wanted to be as a boy, and neither of them have really come to fruition in that way. So I'm going to sign off with that. It's meant to be a really short video, and this is a little bit longer than what I wanted it to be, but suffice to say, I really do appreciate all of the feedback that I've had to the first 30-day challenge that we did. I'm hoping that I can share a bit more of me so that those of you that want to know more about me can learn who I am in a deeper way, and if in any way this helps my relationships with you, then that's got to be meaningful. But the real reason for it is my own personal growth, to actually face some of the demons from my past and grow and become bigger and be able to do more and offer more of value to the community that I live in, and purposefully to the world. Cheers, trendsetters.